diagnosis, and what's, you're like this incredible healer.
Barbara's trying to throw me under the bus, bro. You see that, right?
Why is that?
Because you ever heard of an Australian?
You can start anytime. Don't worry.
Have you ever heard of a naturopath doctor called Barbara O'Neill? She's been teaching for years. So in 2018, you see what we're talking about right now? The government went after her, and they have sanctioned her for talking about cancer.
By the way, are we getting this air conditioning thing? Should we turn it off?
Probably should, because it's like going in and out.
All right, let's get rid of the AC.
What's happening is this: if you use any words that the medical establishment has used or deemed, like the word cure is patented by the pharmaceutical industry. So is cancer. So anyone who talks about that stuff who is not gone through allopathic medicine's schooling system, who are extensions of the pharmaceutical cartel, are not technically allowed to speak about health and talk about the C. So maybe we need to use a code word.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Like we should call it, she's got the candy.
She's got the candy.
Mm.
It's a he, by the way. He's a cousin, not by lineage, but by marriage.
Right.
And he's an outstanding writer. He's one of the stellar of our time. And he recently did a biography, and I forget who it was. I think he thought more would happen with this biography.
Right.
I don't think it got the acclaim that he was expecting.
Didn't get the traction.
Didn't do it, and now the man has candy. And I think he's very traditional, or he and his wife perhaps, and wouldn't welcome you. Whereas I know that you could transform the situation.
Well, health in America is a business.
Oh.
It's not so much of us, following along the lineage of the natives using the land and using the elements to heal the body, because the body actually heals itself. But we've been kind of indoctrinated into the fact that we require, let's walk like this. The system that we've been indoctrinated in actually thinks that by removing the organs and by having a person on pill therapy, that it actually heals the body, but it doesn't. It keeps the body sick. And when we actually introduce real food to the body actually normalizes itself. The body is always trying to heal itself. And what happens is when you actually take medication, it actually impedes the body's ability to heal itself. And most people have never really experienced real natural healings because they've never taken the time to do it. They're impatient. The system is based on time, pressure, fear, and they create a frenzied effect. When I have the opportunity to work with people, what I do is, the first thing that I do is get them to quiet their minds and slow them down. And how do you do that? Well, we work with the breath. We work with rebalancing the circadian rhythm of the body, getting people to go to bed at the right times. Because what happens is, if you're up late at night, that is actually the time that the body provides its healing process. Not during the day, but it happens at night. And because of the inventions of lights, we stay up and, the crickets are outside playing around and the birds are resting, but you're up at night, losing your ability to heal yourself. So what happens when I start working with people? The first thing is, we get them to start drinking copious amounts of water, because most people in America are dry as a bone. That's right. Well, a few bones. And once people start actually drinking enough water, they're able to evacuate toxins, because without the proper levels of water in your body, all of your tissue starts to stick together. And the body goes through a thing called drought management. So at that point, it's going to determine which organ has to work to keep the body functioning until the hydration levels return so the body can function normal. And one of those things is the brain. The brain and the spinal stem have a higher sodium concentration than the rest of the body. Because if the body is very dehydrated, what controls the body is the brain. So if the brain is not functioning, the body will suffer. So the body will always make sure that there's adequate hydration for the spinal cord and the brain, which are the master organs for controlling all the other things in the body. So once the hydration level is correct and the sodium levels are correct to maintain the hydration level, now the body starts to relax. Then we start talking about food. And this is where the disconnect happens with the allopathic realm and the natural healing community. You see, many, many moons ago, water used to be pure and clean, but it's not so more. It's not anymore. It has challenges. It has chemicals in it, which is actually, this is hard to share. In the New York City water table, they put chemicals in the water to reduce the turbidity, which is the cloudiness in the water, also to kill algae so it doesn't clog up the pipes. But these chemicals are toxic to the biology of the body. You see, the problem with our system is this, Barbara, and your friend, is that it's great to be able to have freedom of choice, but we also need to be informed about what's happening, because a lot of these companies that are putting products out there are able to put things in their products unbeknownst to you. So we're not making informed decisions. That's where the challenge is. You know, when you read the labeling laws, their laws have been put in place to actually protect the very companies that are selling these products to people that are innocent. You know, we as consumers, when we go into the store, we assume that they have our best interests at heart. And that is as far from the truth as you can possibly get. So the real key about healing is having the education and understanding and making an informed choice based on what's in front of you. And this is where there's a break in the system. And this is why so many people are sick, because they're literally being hijacked and misinformed. As far as your friend is concerned, the only reason his road would be difficult is because he's trusting a system who's taking advantage of him. You understand that? Right. Let me tell you something. Candy is not a death sentence. It's actually there to protect us, because if we didn't get the candy, we would just drop dead. It actually extends your life to give you an opportunity to make the appropriate changes.
Well put.
You like that?
Tell me about some of the cases or the situations in which you've dealt.
Well, I got called in to work with a gentleman. He was 80 years old, and he had a lollipop-sized tumor in his throat, and they removed it, and then they want to do various procedures on him that were required for him to do anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks of putting chemicals in his body. And I told him, that's fine and dandy. You can do that, but what I want to do right now is make some basic changes. So what we did was, we changed the filtration system in his shower, and we also started filtering his water, because I won't work with anybody unless they're filtering New York City tap water. Because the first two main things that are put into the water is chlorine and fluoride, which are both poison to the body. So we did that, and we changed his diet completely. This guy was a fast food eater. He was eating Subway and Krispy Kreme donuts and KFC and all of these processed foods. We stopped that completely. So within a matter of 8 weeks, he had lost 39 pounds. When I first met him, his skin was chalky. He had no blood flow to his body. Now his body is red and glowing. And when I met him, he was using a walker, and he was bent over walking. Now he got rid of his cane. He used the walker to go long distances, but he's moving so fast with the walker. I'm like, you're gonna get a speeding ticket, bro. And he's like a different person. He's sleeping better. He is eliminating better. And he's not as anxious. It's pretty incredible. He's like a different person.
Lovely.
Yeah. It's not that difficult. What it takes the knowledge of understanding how the body works. It takes patience. Because if you've had challenged habits for a very long time, it's hard to break those habits. So you have to come out of them very slowly. You know, unfortunately, the Western realm is based on addiction in all aspects. From digital addiction with cell phones and televisions to overstimulating music. Everything is overstimulating the body. It's hard to find tranquility in the Western realm. That's why in my journey of helping people and working with people, I started incorporating sound about 15 years ago. And with sound, if you're working sub 200 hertz, that has the ability to stimulate the healing properties in the body. Like for instance, this looks like just a purple tube, right? But when you put it up to your mouth and you blow through it, when the water molecules in the body are exposed to sub 200 hertz, every water molecule in your body is moving. And inside those water molecules are all of your cells. When those waves of energy go through the water and they get a hold of those cells, they create an energy vortex around the cell that actually increases its voltage. These frequencies help the body power up to actually heal themselves. And indigenous people have been doing this for over 50 to 100,000 years. Maybe they could not explain it the way I can do it at this point in time, because now we have the ability to use microscopes and all those things. But they knew these things worked. You know what I mean?
I want you to explain that again, because I didn't get it totally. And the phone rang. And just go over that again.
Oh, about the frequency?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So about 15 years ago, because I've been doing body work for a very long time, because touch therapies is another way. When you touch someone, touch has the ability to actually blend energies and bring a person into resonance or quiet their nervous system. Majority of the people that I work with, because they've been sick for a period of time, depression and anxiety are part of the disease or the imbalance. So the first thing you have to do to get people to actually heal is to quiet their nervous system. If you don't quiet the nervous system, no matter what you introduce to the body, it's not going to bring into resonance. The electrical system is more powerful than the actual pathology. So by incorporating sound, it was almost like providing a energetic massage. Once I have people in that quiet place, then the body will start working to heal itself. So in addition to, say, touch therapy, we can also use frequency. This purple tube here is, the instrument that it represents is a didgeridoo. And basically, Aboriginal people used this 50, 60, 70, 80,000 years ago. Basically, termites would eat out the center of the tree. They would collect the wood and cut it anywhere between 1.5 and 2 meters. And through this tube, they would use their vocal anatomy and reproduce all these sounds of nature. But what it did for the body was, when those frequencies would come out the end of that tube and they would touch the surface of the skin, the water molecules would respond to the frequency. So this is where it becomes interesting. Depending upon the frequency of the vibration that touches the skin, when the water is vibrating, the cells are bathing in the fluids in the body. When those frequencies pass through and create these waves These waves create an energetic vortex around the cell, which actually increases its voltage potential. When you increase the voltage of the cell starts to operate properly. It's kind of like a light bulb. If you don't have enough voltage, the light bulb will flicker. Once you get the proper voltage level, you'll have a solid stream of light. The body works the same way. A healthy body, normal operating frequency is 25 millivolts. When the body is damaged and is trying to heal, it doubles that voltage. Once the body heals that area, the voltage drops back down to 25 millivolts. So what's in correlation with this voltage is also your breathing. When you breathe in oxygen, oxygen is a hot molecule that helps to maintain the frequency or the temperature of the body. Temperature, frequency, sound, light, all of these things are the actual same thing. So, and back to that beautiful instrument, these are the sounds of healing. I mean, how could you not relax to that? When I play, I want to go to sleep. Lord have mercy. Yeah, I'll give you an example, Barbara. I have a client who has a frequency generator in his home. When I lie him in the center of the energy vortex and I utilize this instrument, actually metal comes out of his skin. Metal. Toxic metal, which has been, they called it enriched. Like, we have all been to the supermarket, we look at the back of a package, and on there in that first line, it has enriched wheat. Now, to the average person who understands English, when they see the word enriched, they'd be like, wow, that's a good thing. But quite the contrary. What it actually means is that they take out all the living matter so that the food doesn't rot on the shelf, and they replace it with metal. So that is exactly what's coming out of this guy's skin. He ate so much fast food and enriched food that it disconnected the electricity of his brain to his body. And the only thing that he can move is his hands, his arms, and his head. Unbelievable. I had to create a salve of coconut oil with cupuaçu, which is a chocolate, it's a chocolate seed from Brazil in combination with sea salt. And that actually neutralizes the acid of the metal when it comes to the skin.
Extraordinary. Now, I want you to send some pictures to Sophia for her to be able to incorporate them in this piece that we're going to try to create. This In Bed with Barbara.
That's cool. This is really cool, Barbara.
I think it's got some delicious potential.
No, it's got beyond that, Barbara.
And then I look forward to you approving of the little piece.
Sure.
And it will be very judiciously disseminated.
It has to be.
Yes. Again, with your approval at every turn. So is there anything else you want to tell us?
Well, if I was cornered and I could just share two things that are like, or three things that are the most powerful things for life procession, it goes in this order. The first thing is, what will take you out the fastest? It's the lack of oxygen. You have to learn to master your breathing. Most people have not been taught about the true power of breathing. We do know that if you don't have air, you'll die. But trust me, we have to even know how to breathe. Indigenous mothers, when babies were young, they would actually purse the child's lips together to train the baby how to nasal breathe. We do not naturally nasal breathe. Your nose is a tuned orifice. So if you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, the volume of the mouth is different than the nose. So what happens is you have less back pressure. So that alters the pH of your blood based on the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. When you breathe in and out through your nose, it is optimal because all the neurology for the brain is in the nasal passageway. So when you inhale through your nose is detecting temperature, moisture, allergens, and it can prepare the body to take in or get the air ready to go into your lungs for its assimilation into the tissue. When you breathe through your mouth, the air comes in. If there is bacteria in your mouth, the air will feed the bacteria and cause your teeth to decay. Your mouth is supposed to be sealed. It's only designed for drinking, eating, and letting things leave that no longer are suitable for your stomach and it wants to eject it. Second thing, besides breathing, that is important for life procession, is water. Water needs to be clean. And I mean clean to the point of distillation. See, there's an oxymoron going out there. A lot of people say, oh, pure distilled water is terrible because they're going to extract nutrients out of your body. False. When water evaporates from the earth, goes into the cloud bed, and as the clouds travel over to the land and the electrical potential changes and it dumps the water on the land, that water falls from the cloud in the form of distillate. Distilled water and clean water is what the body needs. Water chelates, binds, lubricates, hydrates, and maintains the temperature of the body, but it has to be clean. Third thing for procession of life is sodium. We are sodium creatures. We cry tears with salt. We sweat water with salt. And when we pee, it is salt. So you need to maintain the proper sodium levels. If you have these three things in proper balance, those things will keep you alive for 4 months without eating one stitch of food. Knowledge is freedom.